Welcome back to Clash and Burn. I am Johnny Clash, and today on Clash's Corner, we're going to be talking about concerts and live shows. Are they still a thing? Google reviews and an honest review from the back of my Lincoln. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Clash and Burn. Thank you for listening. I think this is episode 5 already, so we are flying by. I think I might have already surpassed the old Patreon episodes at this point, so that's good. We're still going. As usual, this is also available on YouTube as well as some playthroughs during the week. I just posted a new Marvel Snap Conquest. It's going to be in 3 parts. The first part is up. I'm not sure. The second part might be up by the time this comes out, but I'm not sure. It might be next week. I'm dropping some Fortnite shorts, which are pretty funny moments of me dying, getting some fall damage and all that. So go check that out. Hit that like button, that subscribe button. It'll be very helpful. And as usual, if you like this podcast, please like and subscribe on Apple or Spotify, wherever you choose to listen, and leave a 5-star review. Let me know what you want to hear. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at JClash21. And without further ado, let's get into some Clash's Corner. So I wanted to talk about concerts. Now, back in the day for me, a concert was going to, say, Jones Beach Theater outside or Madison Square Garden, Nassau Coliseum, something like that. I still have not been to a concert at the new UBS Arena. It's on my bucket list. I'm sure I'll find some reason to go soon, if not for like the Impractical Jokers or something. I've been to many Islander games already. But concerts used to be just something different back in the day. Rolling into the city, you and your friends, going to pick out a new shirt at Hot Topic to wear to the show. You got your Converses in check, and you just rolled in there, checked out the merch, maybe bought a CD or like a digital download code that downloaded onto your computer of the band you liked. There were so many options. I feel like I was going to one every week at, what was it? First it was Nokia, then it was Best Buy. I don't even know what it's called now in Times Square, but that was my spot. The last show I saw there was Yellow Card, which was supposed to be their farewell tour, but I think they're back already. But I just remember my first time going, it was Atreyu, Chiodos, and From First to Last were opening. And From First to Last was my band. Me and my friend Kenny, who I know is listening, we sat there in the car during lunch playing them. I brought my acoustic guitar. We were playing Emily at lunch, trying to make a band happen based on that song. It was just like an unreal moment, like, oh my God, we're finally seeing them. And then Sonny Moore, the singer, got sick and like something with his lymph nodes, I remember, and he was out of commission. They said Craig from Chiodos was going to take over the vocals, and we were like, okay, at least we still get to see them. But Sonny, he's the show. He's the whole show. And then Atreyu just kicked them off the tour. So now we're going to the show. I didn't know Chiodos then. I knew, obviously, Atreyu. Everyone knew Atreyu. They were everyone's favorite band at one point until they grew up a little bit and learned some better music. But they were like the kings in like 2000. This must have been 2006 or 7. They were the kings. They were on top of the world. I just went to the city, Nokia Theater. I was just in awe. Like, I'm here. This is it. This was before I went to a Warped Tour for the first time or a Bamboozle. It was just such a good time. I remember buying a Chiodo shirt, and I put it over my shoulder and then put my sweatshirt on over it. And I thought I lost the shirt until I got home and took the sweatshirt off, and I was like, oh, I was here the whole time. But it was raining that day. I will always remember this. And I crowd surfed for the first time. I said, fuck it, I'm going up. It was the first and only time, actually, I ever crowd surfed. I went up there, and the first thing that they did, I was wearing like a skate shoe, like a Vans or something. They ripped my shoe off and threw it. And I'm like, oh shit. Now I'm going to spend the rest of this concert, the rest of this night, in the rain, in Times Square. I have to walk back to Penn Station with one shoe. This is going to be miserable. I'm going to have to buy like a flip-flop in the I Love New York store or something. So I don't know. But luckily, the person who caught the shoe, I see it so vividly. Their head popped up, and I just see them chuck the shoe back at me, and I Odell Beckham'd it. I stretched all the way out, like that Michael Jordan poster of him stretching his arm out, but backwards. And I somehow grabbed the shoe, and that was it. I made my way back to my friends. I had the shoe in my hand. From then on, every single show I went to, I made sure I wore high top Converses that could not be taken off. Now, I get it. I've been the guy who either boosted someone up in the crowd surf because everyone was always smaller than me, or got kicked in the head during a crowd surf. It's annoying. So at the same time, I don't blame them for ripping my shoe off. You know, it might have been someone who got kicked in the head 3 times already, and they're like, okay, enough with these crowd surfers. But I just feel like there's nothing like that anymore. There's the When We Were Young Fest. I heard this year wasn't as good as the first year. I haven't been to either, so I really don't know. I don't have a say in this. I'm also old. The last show I went to, my favorite band, Bless the Fall, there was a pit. I was not in the pit because I was probably 30 at the time. I'm now 35, so I'm an old man. And a little kid fell in front of me. He must have been like in his 20s. And the natural thing to do is to pick someone up when they fall. So as I picked him up, he slipped and pulled me down by the shoulder, and my whole back went out. And I was in such pain for the rest of the concert. It was miserable. So from then on, I said, I'm good watching these either on YouTube later or just not at all. I've seen pretty much at this point everyone I've wanted to see. You know, the White Whale back in the day was, oh, one day maybe Blink-182 will get back together. I've seen them a couple times since, so I'm good. You know, I've seen the Fall Out Boys and the big bands, the Slipknots and all that. So I think I'm good staying home from now on. I know I mentioned in the first episode, Just Surrender had played a show. I feel like a special case like that where it's maybe their last show ever at a theater that they played in, which is closing down. That's like the special case I'll go to. Or if there's a seat. I saw Red Hot Chili Peppers at MetLife this summer. It was incredible. Now, I've seen them at Madison Square Garden maybe right before the pandemic, or maybe a few years before that. And I didn't think it was that great, and I think it was the vibe. John Frusciante wasn't back yet, so I don't know. They kind of just played straight through. There was no like theatrics. They weren't funny. Same with Blink. I saw them once at the Barclays Center before, what's his name? Tom DeLonge came back, and it was just kind of straight through music. You don't really want to see that. You were there for the show, especially a band like Blink or Red Hot. So when I saw them at MetLife this summer, you know, Flea was his old self. John Frusciante was back. It was an incredible show, and I was like a mid-level Red Hot fan at that point. You know, Californication was the first album I ever bought in my life. But after that, I think I'm a big fan now of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I know they get a lot of hate, they get a lot of flack, but seeing them perform live like that was incredible. Now, I do have Foo Fighters tickets for Citi Field this summer. My wife has never seen them. I've seen them twice already, once in Central Park and once at the Izod Center. And at the Izod Center, Chris from Nirvana came up and played a song with them, and before my eyes, I'm seeing 3/4 of Nirvana because Pat Smear is there also. And it was just like an incredible thing. I was hoping for a cover, but I think they played like a Bob Dylan cover or something. So wishful thinking. Maybe we can get that in Citi Field. But that's my take on concerts today. I would love to know, are you still a concert goer? Do you mosh? Do you just sit in the back? Because there are a lot of venues that don't let you sit in the back. I once saw A Day to Remember. And this was also, like, I was in my late 20s. I really just didn't feel like being there. I drove upstate for it 2-3 hours. It was a long ride. I get there. I forgot to check my coat. And by that point, it was like full. So I'm wearing a leather jacket inside this place. So that was already miserable. And then like everyone just starts pushing and moshing. And it was just, I just went and stood in the back by the merch. I watched from a distance. I felt like such a party pooper. But sometimes that's just the way it goes, you know? That's just it sometimes. Let me know your take on concerts and how you feel about them now. This video is sponsored by Dubby, complete jitterless energy to help you be better and catch that dub. Head on over to dubby.gg and get your 10% off by using code JohnnyClash at checkout. Complete jitterless energy. Dubby. All right, what we are playing this week, sponsored by Dubby, dubby.gg. Use code JohnnyClutch to get 10% off your jitterless, natural energy. I'm drinking some right now. It's giving me all the energy to go play Fortnite after this. But speaking of, we're not going to let this slide. Fortnite Chapter 1 is back. Another week has passed. More stuff has been added. Currently, right now, on my other screen, Courage JD is in a $100,000 tournament with Nick Merckx, Nate Hill, and Cypher. So I'm watching that. I've never been more into a game. Me and my buddy George have gotten some dubs. I played with the old squad from back in the day. That felt really good. They're guys I still talk to, but they don't play the game anymore, but they got on. That's actually who I was talking about last week in the Tomato Town story. A new Marvel Snap season is out. Now, it's always in the beginning of the season. I need like a little bit of a break before I dive back in. But this season, it seemed pretty easy to just start winning again, start diving back in. Like I said earlier on YouTube, I'm posting some more Marvel Snap videos. They seem to be doing pretty well, and people enjoy the content. So I'm going to keep making it because it's honestly my game of the year, and it's something I love very much, just killing time. Or not even, like I consider that part of like my gaming at night. Like I'll play Marvel Snap and just be completely satisfied. But I also mentioned a few weeks ago, I considered downloading Pokemon Go again. Now, there was one condition if I was going to play this game again. If my old account was still there. And luckily, I still have the Gmail attached to my phone from my old Android from 2016. So I got it now on my iPhone. All of my old stuff was there. I'm still ranked in the 20s. I'm not great yet. But I have been having a lot of fun on my walks with my dog. I'm catching Pokemon and driving slow past the Pokemon stops and swiping. Don't tell anybody that I'm doing that. But it's a lot of fun. And now my friends, back then there was no trainer code or anything back when I played. So now I'm adding friends and they're all way ahead of me, but it's okay. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And we'll see where it goes. I'm trying to evolve some Pokemon over here. I'm looking for a new game to get back into to stream or record a video, like a long playthrough. I'm thinking it's going to be Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order because I haven't finished it yet and I'm still towards the beginning. So if I start over, it's not a big deal and I could play all the way through and maybe post it either in segments or one long, like 10, 15 hour video. We'll see how that goes. Or I was thinking I still have not finished The Last of Us 2. I finished a playthrough of The Last of Us 2, like a watch through, but I haven't actually played through it all yet. So maybe that's where I go. I don't know. We're going to see. All right, my honest review this week was where I review a game, a movie, TV show, something in the media. Thank God the strike is over. It was really affecting everything personally. And glad that's all resolved for the next 3 years at least. And we'll worry about it, I guess. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Lincoln Lawyer. I wasn't familiar with this. I knew it was a movie with Matthew McConaughey. I never saw it, though. So I went back and on Netflix, I started watching the series, not knowing it was a thing. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I knew of the book. Maybe I didn't know there was a movie. Maybe it was the book I was thinking about the whole time. Went through season 1, and it was a really good show. Well written. But then I went on like Hulu or something, and it came up with Matthew McConaughey. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the movie. So I watched it. It was really good. Now, there were no real correlations between that and the TV series on Netflix. But then once season 2 came out of Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix, there was the correlation. It almost started identical to the story of the movie, but they kind of cut that and go into their own thing. So they give you like a little glimpse of the movie in the first, I think, 2 episodes, but then it carries on into its own thing. But I think both are great. The movie's great. It's from a while back, but the show, I think they announced a season 3. It's very good. If you're into the movie or even just, honestly, they weren't very long. They're easy to get into. You don't really have to, like maybe if you're on your phone a little bit during, you still get the gist of it. So it's a simple watch. Nothing, I won't say it's like the best show I've ever seen. It's not extraordinary, not like the best written show ever, but it's good. It's a good watch, and I highly suggest it. Now, my book recommendation, I'm actually in the middle of a book. I started reading this book when my daughter was being born, when I was waiting all those hours in the hospital. I downloaded it on my phone on Kindle. It was free. It's called The Moonlight Child by Karen McQuestion. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to like it. I thought it was going to be kind of like a teen novel, but it's actually pretty interesting. The synopsis is a gripping and emotional novel that will leave you wondering about the neighbors next door. On a cold January night, Shannon Lemke heads outside to see a lunar eclipse when she notices something odd at the house behind her backyard. Through her neighbor's kitchen window, she sees what appears to be a little girl washing dishes late at night. But the Fleming family doesn't have a child that age, and even if they did, why would she be doing housework at the late hour? It would be easy for Sharon to just let this go, but when 18-year-old Nikki, a former foster child, comes to live with Sharon, she notices suspicious activity at the Flemings' house as well. When calling social services doesn't result in swift action, the two decide to investigate on their own. So from the cover of this book with the moon and everything and the dark house, which actually kind of looks like my house, I thought it was a ghost story. You know, they're seeing a ghost, so that's why I was like, it's kind of kiddie. But it's actually not. It's a really good kind of mystery. You get into the characters. It's actually written from 3 different perspectives so far. I have not finished it, so I don't know how it's going to end, if it's going to fulfill whatever. But it's only from 2020. It's a relatively new story. It's free on Kindle, so it's worth checking out. But all right, thank you guys once again. That's going to do it for this week's episode. I like these short, little digestible episodes. Please leave a 5-star review wherever you can. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps so much. Please check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@JohnnyClash. Please check out my other show, the Game Marks Podcast, where we discuss a different wrestling video game each and every week and offer up our rating of Play It Forever or Future Endeavor. And I will see you next week on Clash and Burn.